And we're going to start with old channel friend Where's Wally, and he's going to continue where I left off with bubbles in space.
Yeah, often on the outside of the space station, you'll liberate little pieces of, it's a really harsh environment out there, and the outside of the space station gets beat up pretty good. And sometimes, you'll see just little flecks of paint or something that you might have disrupted floating away from the suit. And, that's generally what that is. I've never seen any kind of air bubble anywhere.
Could it be that you're filming in an underwater pool and you're not really out there? All right, well, I just encourage everyone to look up Bubbles in Space, hashtag Bubbles in Space. Thank you very much.
How's Bubbles in Space doing?
How's what?
Bubbles in Space?
Bubbles in space?
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
No? You Mr. Kelly?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah? You don't remember the question from Tampa about the bubbles in space coming up from the helmet? Yeah, you guys are in an underwater pool, remember?
Oh my word, how cringe is this?
We know. Just remember.
What's up, man? Can you sideline the hashtag Bubbles in Space?
Hashtag Bubbles in Space?
Bubbles in Space, brother. What's your word on that?
What is that?
Yeah, you were asked that 2 times in the past couple months, actually, about bubbles coming out in the spacewalks.
Oh, you're that guy.
I'm not that guy. I'm one of those guys.
Yeah, I'm not going to write that.
And then,
thank you so much.
There you go.
Astronauts on harnesses as well. Anything to say about that?
Come on then, Wally. Let us know what's really going on.
The spacesuit is called by a super simple piece of kit called a heat rejection porous plate sublimator. And what is this magic heat rejection porous plate sublimator, I hear you ask? Well, it's a plate of sintered metal. It allows the liquid water to pass through it. And it has the vacuum on the outside and the 5 psi of O2 pressure on the inside. So the water is pushed through this plate. The water's not sucked through the plate by the vacuum, wake up yourself. It's pushed through the plate by the pressure inside the suit. But once it hits the vacuum, it evaporates, it cools, it freezes, and it seals the plate. So it keeps sublimating and keeps cooling the plate. The liquid then can be cooled on the inside, and the metal conducts the heat to the ice, and some of that ice sublimates. And it stays sealed, and any water passing through the plate freezes almost instantly. But now when it's first turned on, the plate is warm, the water is warm, and it passes easily through the plate. There's a bit of water over the inside of the airlock, and this is the source of the bubbles that we often see Flat is referring to during the initial stages of a spacewalk. It's just water ice spitting out of the, wait for it, heat rejecting porous plate sublimator.
Very first thing when Wally begins to speak, he shows a video clip of 2 astronauts supposedly in space with the Earth behind them. I started laughing because this is absolute CGI bullshit. It looks fake as hell because it is fake as hell. Surely he could have picked a better video clip that looked at least more realistic. But anyhow, back to the bubbles in space. And now we have the dreaded heat rejection porous plate sublimator. It sounds complicated, doesn't it? It really isn't. It simply cools down the spacesuit. At the end of this clip, Wally says when the heat rejection porous plate sublimator is first turned on, and you heard him say, when it's first turned on, the plate is warm and the water is also warm. The water passes easily at first through the porous plate, and it spits a bit of the water over the airlock, and this is the source of the bubbles he claims that we see at the beginning of a spacewalk. You have to also understand that earlier Wally explained that once the water hits the vacuum of space, it freezes over and seals the airlock of the spacesuit. So you would only briefly see bubbles for a very few seconds because it would ice over very quickly. In this next clip, you're going to see there's more to the bubbles in space than just the damn heat rejection porous plate sublimator. The astronaut had bubbles coming from him for over 2 minutes, and that sublimator should have frozen over the spacesuit's airlock way before then, but it didn't.
I'm ready for you to come on in.
Okay, Clay, do I have a quick, and then a good config free grip, PRT's in, PGT is in.
Dave Williams about to move out of the Quest airlock. Those particles that you see emanating from the airlock is said by the EVA officer Paul Baim in Mission Control to be particles of water from the crew's sublimators on their spacesuits.
That's the U. There you go. Hang up a little bit there. Okay.
The suits are in good shape, according to the spacewalk officers here in Mission Control.
ATC. I'm just out of the airlock right now, and I'll get in config to get the waist tethers all hooked up, the safety tethers, I should say. Okay.
Dave Williams beginning the third spacewalk of his career, having logged 12 hours, 45 minutes of spacewalking time on this mission.
And getting ready to put my safety tether on 550.
Copy.
On 550. Big NTC.
Disregard.
Okay. My right safety tether is locked black on 550. Got a good tug test on that.
Tracy, Houston on the big loop. It looks like we're seeing water or something coming out of Dave's suit. We're wondering if you can have him take a look around, see if he sees any of it.
Yeah, I saw the same thing too, Tony. Hey, Dave, pause for a sec and take a look around your suit. But yeah, if you could make your way. We saw some droplets coming out, and I'm looking at you from camera, Charlie.
Okay.
And I saw them go up towards your feet.
Okay, I don't see anything right now.
That's normal? Okay.
And Tracy, Houston on the big loop.
So it was coming.
We'd like him to look at the front of the DCM where the...
In that last clip, you saw bubbles coming from that astronaut for over 2 minutes. Yet, the sublimator should have frozen over the airlock of the spacesuit well before then, rendering your explanation of bubbles in space null and void. Where's Wally? Then what do we see before the end of the clip? We see a damn scuba tank. Why in the hell would scuba tanks be in space? This looked like it was filmed in a pool. NASA even admits that astronauts practice spacewalking in a giant pool. Maybe that's really where the spacewalking actually takes place and not in a science fictional space. So Scimandan, or should I say Scam-Man Dan, you and your little friend, Where's Wally, didn't debunk anything or prove anything. Maybe it's time, Dan, for you to either stop trying to debunk flat earthers, or better yet, just close down your YouTube channel because you're being dishonest to your followers. I also have to ask the question, where's Wally? Because his mind has obviously been hijacked by NASA. I'll leave you with this short clip showing the pool where the astronauts practice their supposed spacewalking.
Today's adventure takes me to the Johnson Space Center at NASA in Houston, Texas.
And I'm standing on the International Space Station!
Well, not exactly. I'm standing on an underwater full-size replica of the International Space Station in a gigantic indoor swimming pool. Here they train astronauts to work in zero gravity by simulating these conditions underwater. I descend into the clearest water I've ever seen, and it looks like an underwater movie set. The pool is a staggering 40 feet deep, and everywhere I look are full-size replica sections of the International Space Station. Once weighted properly, the astronauts hover in the water as if floating in the weightlessness of space. Since fins don't work in space, the astronauts don't get to wear them here. They must be moved from task to task by the divers.